Want to avoid making a mistake when you start Dragon Dogma 2? Well, welcome to our beginner's guide because I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know about the game. So this can help you get all the way to endgame. Alright, so the first tip I want to give you guys, if you're loading up the game and you haven't created a character and you're about to create a character, pay attention to what you're creating, okay? It's extremely important because weight matters in this game. So the bigger, the stronger you are, the more you're able to carry, and you're going to find a lot of things. My suggestion is make your pawn big, bulky, so he's able to carry a lot of stuff. Don't make him super bulky because then he's going to be running out of a lot of stamina, but you want to have a character kind of serve as a mule to be able to carry your stuff. Now, you personally, it's all going to depend if you want to be fast or mobile, but depending your height, depending your weight, it's going to determine how much you're actually able to carry. So do not skip this part. The great thing, the game does a very good job to let you guys know as you're adjusting stuff in the bottom how much weight you're able to collect. So that's going to be your first tip, guys. Now, if you already created your character and you bypassed this, you could easily go ahead and correct this in the game later on once you get a consumable that allows you to edit your character. Now, the first thing you guys are going to have to deal with is, of course, making your character. You're going to progress through the tutorial. Once you get to the tutorial part and that has completed, you are then going to be getting access to your pawn. This is by far one of the most important things to pick. If you are not a mage, if you hear me correctly, if you are not a mage, pick a mage, okay? That is the only way you're able to get your health. So tip number one would be here, guys, make sure you pick up a mage if you're not a mage. If you are a mage, pick up a fighter. He's going to get all the aggro from any other character, and this will allow you to cast magic without getting attacked. That is the best tips I could give you, and 100% will guarantee that your run on this game is smooth. Alright, so one tip I want to give you guys is make your pawn sexy. Yeah, you heard it correctly. Make it sexy. The reason being is because other people are able to see your pawn, okay? So the more people that choose your pawn to come along with them to help them out, the more stuff you're going to be getting as a reward when that pawn returns from his adventures. So remember, the cool thing about this game is the fact that you're able to actually select other people's pawn, and when that pawn comes back to you and you come back to the world, he's going to bring gifts that he found throughout the world. So try to make him sexy if you can. Alright, so now that you have your pawn, guys, it's very important that you understand the commands you're able to give your pawn. Now, the commands are going to be located on the left-hand side. We have go, help, wait, and to me. It's extremely important that you get used to these guys if you've never played Dragon Dogma, because these are going to be extremely crucial, especially if you guys are running a character that's going to need a lot of health, or especially if you're running a character that's aggroing a lot and you want to make sure he aggros at the right time, okay? Because this game does not play when it comes to having a lot of enemies, and you can literally die and lose a lot of health. So you want to make sure your pawn is actually paying attention to you. So go is basically, tell your pawn to go, go over here, go over there, go over here. Help is pretty much, help if you need help. He'll come and help you out, especially if you're running a mage as a pawn and you need to get health. He will come and help you, okay? So that's actually a pretty good thing. Then you have wait, which is a really good one to use, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be getting used to this one. Sometimes the pawns could aggro a lot based on their inclination, so it's really important that you understand the way the inclinations work. I made a video on that, so if you want to check that out, you're more than likely to, and I'll pin it in a pinned comment. But you guys need to know that waiting is going to help a lot, because sometimes your pawn might go aggro an enemy that you're not ready to fight, and this can mess everything up, because remember, the fast travel is a little bit of a pain here, so you want to make sure you're engaging and when you want to engage. The next one is to me. It's basically just calling the pawn to come to you in case he runs off. This is going to be really helpful because there are some pawns, aka wink wink nudge nudge looking at you trickster, who run out by themselves and go out adventure without asking for permission. You want to make sure that you keep your pawns in check, especially when you go ahead and get the other two remaining pawns, which leads me to my next tip. As you progress through the game, you're going to get to the Forgotten Riftstone. Now, this is extremely important and one of the most important tips in the game, guys. Once you get here, you want to make sure you pick up the remaining pawns. Do not skip this. Even though there is a caveat to if you're playing this solo without any additional pawns, you do get a 20% buff. If you're not that crazy and you want to make sure you get help while playing the game, then what I would recommend, guys, is as soon as you guys get to the Forgotten Riftstone, make sure you hire the other two remaining pawns. Now, if you want to know what pawns synergize well with each other, I also made a video about that, so you guys are more than welcome to check that out. I don't want to extend this video too long, but I'm telling you guys right now, pick up to the two additional pawns. Now, if you have a friend that's playing the game, look for your friend's pawn, and you're going to thank me later after you watch my next video that's coming up. But guys, It's extremely important. Once you get to the Forgotten Riftstone, look for a pawn that's going to suit your playstyle, it's going to suit your team chemistry, and pick up that pawn so you guys are able to progress faster in the game and avoid dying constantly. Now, in addition to that, when you get to this location, guys, you will be able to see if these pawns have progressed and if they have knowledge on any quest line that you're probably doing or working on. So make sure you guys check them out. You study what they are. You see what inclination they have, because this is going to be very fundamental. So just make sure you just don't quickly just pick a pawn. Make sure you actually investigate if he's actually going to be helping you out or not. Now, if you're finding these tips helpful and informative, guys, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe to the channel for more Dragon Dogma content. And now let's talk about the next tip. This is being able to unlock a town called Melve. This is going to be unlocked by completing the first quest line. Once you complete the first quest line, you're going to get to this town. Now, this town is extremely important because this town is where you're going to be able to change your vocations and unlock other vocations and do stuff like storing items. Remember what I gave you my first tip earlier, which was about weight. If you have a lot of items, this is where you want to deposit your items so you can move on to the next adventure with your characters. So Melve is extremely important. This is going to be your first town when you stop. So make sure you guys visit the local area to make sure you store your items. Make sure you change vocations if you want to, so you guys are having a good smooth path with who you want to play with. So the next tip I want to give you guys is based on fast travel. So this game does, as you guys know, there is no way for you to get on a mount or ride a horse or ride an eagle. I mean, theoretically there is, but there's no way for you to actually call one down to go with. So there's two ways of actually moving around this world. The number one is actually accessing a ox cart. Now the ox cart is really good because it will help you not only skip certain portions in the game faster, but it'll let you get to different towns earlier before you need to. This is actually pretty good, okay? Because the only other way to fast travel is through with a port crystal. Now I'll have a video on how to farm port crystals and how to unlock port crystals, so you guys are going to make sure you don't miss that video. But that is the other option. You can go ahead and get yourselves a port crystal and place it down. Now you'll also need some fairy stones as well, which you can collect throughout the world. But the main thing I want to let you guys know is, in order for you guys to move around the world and travel, the ox cart is a very viable option to be able to do so. Now, you will also be able to set down camps, which you will need to buy first in order to set one down. Now, these camps are extremely important due to the fact that this is where you're going to be doing the majority of the resting and getting your health back and getting your stamina back. In addition to that, you will be able to cook meat, which should give you some temporary buffs and to be able to challenge the enemies when you're progressing throughout the game. Now, one thing you definitely want to remember, guys, is you want to make sure every time you go to an inn or a hotel that you actually rest, because when you die, the game will move you to that hotel. So you want to make sure that you're constantly resting at those hotels as opposed to resting in the camps. It's going to be extremely important. This is a really good way to kind of save the progression. So if you go, like, say you go an hour in and you die, it'll take you back to the camp. It'll give you, like, the menu will pop up and say, do you want to go back to the inn, or do you want to go back to your, the encampment? Sometimes you're so far off that if you go to the encampment, you're going to be like an hour away from the area you were at. So resting at inns is going to be extremely important. All right, so now that we have progressed a little bit in the game, you're going to get to a town called Vermont. This is where you're going to find the blacksmith, you're going to find the potion guy, and I'm going to give you a couple of things that you need to do in this town in order to make your life a little bit easier. First, you're going to want to visit the guy that's in charge of the potions. Now, he's going to have an item called Fairy Stone. Now, this Fairy Stone is extremely important, and you want to make sure you guys get this as quickly as you possibly can. Now, you're going to need gold to actually obtain this, and you're going to need gold to buy other stuff that I'm going to mention in this video. But don't worry, I have a video on how to farm gold and how to get gold fast, so you're going to want to make sure you guys check that out. So, first item you want to buy is buy the Fairy Stone. The reason why this item is extremely important is because this item will allow you to fast travel to different locations, and this is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches. And what more important thing than time? The other thing you could buy from the potion dude is you could buy a camping kit if you didn't pre-order the deluxe edition, which if you watch my video, you probably pre-ordered it. So if you do have that one, you guys are completely set. If you don't, you're going to want to make sure you get yourself a camping kit. The camping kit is extremely important, as this is going to allow you guys to move around the world, place down in camp, and go over there and rest and get your health back, which I talked a little bit earlier about. Now, let's talk about the other thing I recommend you do, and that is talk to the blacksmith. It is extremely important that as soon as you get to this particular location, you actually go ahead and level up your weapons and level up your gear. This is going to save you a ton of time because the only thing you need in order to level up your weapons and your gear the first time around, because there's other currencies that you need, is for the first upgrade, you only need gold. So you want to make sure you upgrade this so you can have an easier time progressing throughout the game. Like I said, I will have a video on how to farm gold later on today, so make sure you guys keep it locked on this channel. Okay, so the next tip is, guys, you want to make sure you're constantly changing vocations due to the fact that each vocation has a specific augments that are tied to that specific vocation. But the great thing here is that you're able to transfer those augments from whichever pawn. So like, for example, let's say you're a fighter and you want to get an augment that's going to give you more mobility, and that augment is tied to the thief class. If you level up your thief class and unlock that augment, you're able to transfer it over to your fighter to make him a little bit more mobile and faster. So you want to make sure you're constantly changing vocations to unlock their augments so you can put it on your main character. All right, so the next one, guys, is an item that's extremely important and very hard to get, and that is a Wakestone. If you find a Wakestone, make sure you keep it in your back pocket or keep it when you're ready. This is going to allow you to bring yourself back to life. In addition to that, it's going to help you bring back NPCs back to life. So for example, if by mistake a big ogre decided to invade a town and there was an NPC with a questline and he died, the Wakestone is the only way to resurrect them and bring them back to life. So you want to make sure you have enough Wakestones in your inventory to be able to either bring yourself back to life or bring your dead NPCs or your dead pawns back to life. Now, there are a ton more tips I want to talk to you guys about, but that would make the video over an hour because there's a lot of stuff in Dragon's Dogma 2. So with these tips I actually laid down, they should get you into the right foot to avoid you dying and for you to be able to get the stuff that you need in order to progress throughout the game. Now, if you guys want to make sure you have a smooth run throughout the game, like know what quest lines to do, how to farm gold, how to get Wakestones, how to do all that fancy stuff, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications, because we're going to have you guys completely covered with everything Dragon's Dogma 2. Talking about having you guys completely covered, check out this video that's popping up right now on the screen, teaching you guys how to level up fast and why it's important to level up fast. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.